Great things happen when Jonathan Kuminga plays. Great things also happen when the Splash Brothers dip into a fountain of youth and remind folks what they used to be in the modern era. The Splash Brothers were thriving. Kaminga was thriving. Happy New Year, Dub Nation. Happy New Year, Kylen. The Warriors started off with a victory. We're going to break it down next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. You can follow Kylen Mills on all social media platforms. The same handle. It's super easy. Add her name, Kylen Mills. You can follow me on Threads at DogWild. Kylen, Happy New Year. Great to see you. And your immediate reaction to the Golden State Warriors pulling off a win that I feel like they badly needed, 121-115. Hi.
Hi, Cyrus. Happy New Year. Good to see you and good to see everyone. Thank you for joining us. I missed y'all last week. I was suffering from strep throat. I had a rough holiday week, so glad to be back with you and glad to be talking about a Warriors win. I guess I'm good luck because they snapped the losing streak. I'm back on the show. But I think the recipe for success for the Warriors is sharing the basketball, the assist to turnover ratio. I know you laugh at me because I like to talk about it with Chris Paul, but it's an important stat for the team as well. 24 assists, only 12 turnovers. That's a good number for the Warriors when they're sharing the basketball and guys besides Steph Curry hit shots. That opens up the game a little bit for Steph to where he can go off late in games like he did tonight. And I mean, he was scoring throughout the game, but just saying he had some ridiculous shots in the fourth quarter. But it helps in when other guys are scoring the basketball. And something I've thought was a big issue this season or has been a big issue is other players consistently contributing. You and I have talked about the fact that there has not been a reliable or consistent second or even third scorer. There has not been those identified roles carved out within this roster so far. Andrew Wiggins moved to the bench. That was a huge change compared to a season ago when he could be looked at the Warriors' most consistent second scorer at times during the Warriors championship run 2 seasons ago. To me, he was the second best player oftentimes during that playoff run. So some big changes. I still would like to see those roles carved out more clearly, but I thought other guys hitting shots, Steph Curry being Steph, and then taking care of the basketball and moving the ball were two major positives. For the Warriors to put up 121 points against a top 5 defense in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, the Orlando Magic, they have a lot of young players, but they have been very good defensively. They've got a lot of versatile guys. This was a positive. This was a big positive and a much needed win.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted. Absolutely. You want to hear some sound from Jonathan Kuminga immediately following the game? I thought he had a fantastic night.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Kylen.
Yep. And that's when I talk about other guys hitting shots. He finished with 19. Clay finished with 15. He had, I feel like more, I'm trying to remember what he'd scored at the half, but he had good quality shots. His efficiency was pretty high. So those are the numbers you'd like to see.
Absolutely. So let's hear from Kaminga. And on a side note, before we get into this, I don't think Kaminga is the greatest interview subject. I don't know about you. Like, I feel I hear people asking him these questions where they're trying to get details and they're trying to dig, and Kaminga gives the most vanilla answers. I don't know if that's just who he is or if he's aware that saying the wrong things can get you in trouble, even though sometimes he is rather forthright. But nonetheless, here is Jonathan Kuminga speaking with the post-game crew, talking about tonight's game. And as Kylen mentioned, 19 points. I think he was second on the team in scoring. Here is Jonathan Kuminga.
What's it like to get your rhythm with that starting unit? It seems like you're starting to find your rhythm with Steph and Clay in that starting unit. 19 points tonight, that was huge.
I mean, it's just knowing who you're playing of. We got Steph, we got Clay. Everybody in this league are afraid of those two people. So just knowing how to play with them just opened a lot of things.
What's it like to get your rhythm with that starting?
I was muted again. I'm off my game tonight. I'm sorry. I want to play this one more soundbite real quick as well, because this was rather interesting. Kaminga was in the news for his comments where he described the frustration of his minutes not being consistent, how he's confused sometimes, that he gets pulled after making great plays. And he talked about Steve Kerr again. Let's hear what Kaminga had to say there.
You continue to play better and better and better the more starts you get. Can you explain how the game is slowing down for you, JK, this season?
I mean, it's pretty much about reps, everyday reps, film, practice, and stuff like that. And just having that trust from Coach Kerr, I mean, that's what kind of helping me to just keep going.
Yeah, look at him giving the love to Kerr. Your thoughts, Kylen?
I mean, I think that's an interesting turn of events based on the Jonathan Kuminga that a year ago last season was pouting about, how much playing time he was getting and openly talking to the media about his frustrations. So I'm glad to see that it seems like Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga have mended that relationship. I'm happy to see him starting. I think it is deserved. I think it's the right move. Trace Jackson-Davis didn't have his most productive night in my eyes, but I like those two starting in the front court. I am very excited about those changes and want to give Steve Kerr some credit for at least doing that. However, I did think that Kevon Looney was one dud of the night. Something that I tweeted out was that I still would like to see Moses Moody incorporated into the rotation in some way, shape, or form. Someone just mentioned in the comments, he's not a superstar. Why are people so upset? And he's not, but Moses Moody had been playing well. He's been one of the consistent contributors for the Warriors. And when given opportunities, he's taken advantage of them. He was critical in the playoffs. Last year, suddenly got significant minutes. So I do think it's been a bummer to see Moses Moody get DMPs when I feel like even take some of those minutes away from Kevon Looney. Dario Saric, to me, was non-existent tonight. I still feel like there could be a way for him to get into the game. So those are just some of my rotation thoughts.
Yeah, and I was trying to find that comment. I couldn't find it. I'm sorry. But the Looney thing is interesting. And Kylen, you and I are going to host another show tomorrow. Is there another game tomorrow? I haven't had a chance to know. The Warriors are off, and then they have a back-to-back games Thursday and Friday. That Thursday game against the Nuggets is huge. You and I are going to talk, have another show tomorrow where we're going to talk about trades, among many things. We're also going to talk a little more about Moses Moody because he's getting DNP. Now, that could change with the Gary Payton injury that we saw tonight. I don't know if it's a hamstring or a calf. I thought he was just getting his rhythm back. He barely had come back from that previous injury with the calf. And it's unfortunate that the kid deals with a lot of injuries here. What do you think is going to happen? Are we finally going to see Moody start to play a little more with Gary Payton II out again? And what are your thoughts on these Moody DNPs? Like, is there more to it? Do you think, like, maybe are they saving him for a trade? Is it just an unfortunate situation? What are your thoughts on that and on Gary Payton II injured again?
I mean, it's disappointing to see Gary Payton II injured again. I still think he brings great perimeter defending, and he's certainly a great addition for the Warriors. I'm disappointed that him getting back into the rotation meant that Moses Moody was out. And some people are saying, well, how would Kevon Looney playing less minutes mean more minutes for Moses Moody? But I think that Steve Kerr could tweak the rotation. He already loves to go small. I mean, for goodness sakes, you could find a way to take some of those minutes. You could possibly play Kaminga at the 5. Dario Saric has done it at times. I'm not necessarily saying that plays to either of their skill sets the best, but still, I mean, Moses Moody has a 7'2" wingspan. I don't think that he could play the 4, but I just think there's ways that you could tweak the rotation, who's being played with who, and that you could find a way to work Moses Moody in over some guys who just aren't being productive right now. And like the number one who comes to mind is Kevon Looney, and Dario Saric in this game was meh. I also was very shocked by Brandon Pajemski continuing, 28 minutes to get huge minutes off the bench. And that's another one to me where it's just like Chris Paul playing 30, Steph Curry playing 35, Brandon Pajemski playing almost 30. I also feel like you could take minutes away from a couple of those guys because you're giving so much minutes to the smaller guards. Why not add a little bit of that length? I like Moody's defense. I don't know. I still would like to see the rotation tweaked. And I don't think anyone can say that the Warriors have it figured out right now because at the end of the day, this team is below 500. I still think there needs to be adjustments made to the rotation. What those adjustments exactly are, I can't spell out for you, but I do think that there need to be changes. And Chris Paul starting with Steph Curry, okay, but it's still a defensive liability. I don't know that I love it. So I don't know. I still think that the Warriors have got to figure something else out.
You know, Kylen, I was hosting a show, the last show of the year. I decided to make it a two-parter, and the second one was just me in the chat. I just was addressing everybody, answering everything until literally there was no topic left to discuss. And one interesting thing that I feel like there was a miscommunication there in here everywhere in terms of what we call small ball. And what I learned is that there are variances to it. There are levels to it. Like to some people, small ball means the kind of team the Warriors had in 2022, where you basically have an army of wings. 1 through 5 can switch regardless. But like, I don't see that as small ball. I see small ball when you're starting backcourt is an average height of 6'1". That is small ball. So I guess like there's levels to it. And if that was small ball in 2022, this is hobbit ball. Like that's what I'm calling this now, because there are so many different levels to it. We're going to have a lot more to discuss. I would love to get your reaction to that, Kylen, and so much more. We got some sponsors we got to give some love to. And first and foremost on the docket is FanDuel, the official sports book of the Locked On Podcast Network. Kylen, the San Francisco 49ers. Hey now, what are your thoughts on them? I mean, are you feeling Super Bowl? What are your I'm giddy about them. What are you thinking?
Oh, they're fun to watch. I think they have one of the most talented teams top to bottom. When you look at this roster in the NFL, they should be Super Bowl bound, barring injury. I hate to say that because of what happened in last year's playoffs in that Eagles game, but you know, if they stay healthy, I love the Niners to go all the way.
Hell yeah. And look, the NFL season is wrapping up. Niners have the top seed locked up. You can make bets on that and so much more with FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. It's that simple. You don't have to win your bet anymore. Just place a $5 bet and you get $150 in bonus bets. Good as cash, folks. It's the exact same thing. They're just calling it bonus bets. That's $150 in bonus bets, whether you win or lose. FanDuel has it all. Live same-game parlays. You can find bets in their new Explore tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. It's the best way to find popular parlays. Clearly, they're pushing parlays. Parlays are fun. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Locked On Podcast Network has a 24/7 show. It's the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And follow Kylen Mills on all social media platforms at her name, Kylen Mills. Kylen, your thoughts on small ball in today's NBA? And a side note, I'm totally with you about this backcourt. There's a reason why the Warriors started this game. I think they started off down 11-2. It was somewhere around there. It was a bad start. They had to overcome that. I think it was largely because of how diminutive they are. Your thoughts on these variances of a small ball, if any?
I just want to give a shout out to a couple of people in the chat who said it's not small ball, that's tiny ball. And then one of our regular viewers, listeners, Kay Jackson, said microscope ball. So we're coming up with some creative names to describe how small the Warriors are going. I think that the NBA is less bang in the post and more small ball guys with versatility. I mean, whatever you think small ball is, whether it's skill, whether it's height, I do think the NBA is leaning more that way, where teams are going smaller. They're going more for guys with skill. Yes, I still think you need to have a talented center, but it's not as much just hit guys inside that are going to bang it up in the post like a Shaquille O'Neal. The way the game is played in the NBA has changed. Steph Curry revolutionized the utilization of the three ball to where teams now look to play that way and run the motion offense similar to the way Steve Kerr does with, lights out 3-point shooters. So a lot about the NBA has changed. I still think that small ball can work. I think pushing the pace and looking to get out and use guard speed to get in front, if you want to play 4 out, if you've got guys who are versatile and can create mismatches in some of those switches, I think that there's a way that it can work in the NBA. I just don't think the Warriors have the right personnel to go small ball when they're small and they're old and they're not particularly fast or the most athletic team in the NBA. Like, I've said it on this program before, I'm sorry, but like the guys are getting older. Steph Curry and Chris Paul are not the two that I want playing small ball in terms of if you're looking to utilize the transition game like Steve Kerr says he wants to do and going small, and trying to get out ahead and those types of things. Like I think the Warriors are too old and slow to play true small ball. But I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like there still needs to be some retooling with this Warriors roster. At the end of the day, we have a good sample size. They're 16 and 17, and they're below 500. So I don't know. I personally don't think small ball is it for this Warriors team right now.
I know. I'm absolutely with you. You brought up the record. The Golden State Warriors right now are a half game behind the Lakers for the play-in. They're 3.5 games behind the Pelicans for the 6th seed, which I think is really important. And that's very alarming as well. 3.5 games is not an easy thing to overcome. And personally, for the sake of the Warriors, future and the postseason success, I really think that's important to avoid the play-in. Is that important to you? Or do you think if the Warriors make it, regardless of play-in or not, does that matter to you? I think, to me personally, I think the 6th seed is a goal you have to set and achieve. Is it as important to you as it is to me?
Oh, yeah, totally agree. I mean, anything can happen in one game. It's very scary to put your season on the line in a play-in situation. And now, granted, if you're the 7 and 8 seed, you lose, you get to play again before you're eliminated, but still they're 1-game series against 2 different teams. And I just feel like anything can happen. I do believe that the better team will win in a 7-game series, but I don't know that that's necessarily the case in a one-off. So I think it's a dangerous place to be. And for that reason, you absolutely have to shoot for a 6th seed. I mean, the Warriors very well could still get there. But is this roster as it stands? I know we're going to talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, but drop a comment. Is this roster as it stands now even capable of that? Do moves need to be made before the deadline? That's the burning question. Like I said, let us know your thoughts. Cyrus, what do you think?
Well, here's what I was going to do. I was going to play a game. And the game is this. When we come back, Kylen, I'm going to list every single player on the Warriors roster, and I'm going to ask you if you think that player should be available for a trade. Again, you mentioned this. The Warriors are a game below 500. Tonight's win was huge. I think it was a really big game. Gives the momentum going into a colossally huge game Thursday night because the Warriors have lost 5 games in a row to the Denver Nuggets. That's never happened in the Steve Kerr era. And if they're gonna prove to themselves in the world that they still are a championship contender, they got to beat the Nuggets in at least one of these games. And I don't know if the time is not there yet to make a decision about a trade. Maybe the time passed a while ago. Steve Kerr has said that January 1st is a good barometer for deciding where your team is at. Mike Dunleavy Jr. said when Draymond Green comes back, if the team is below 500, they're absolutely going to be considering trades. When we come back, Kylen, I'm going to list every player on this roster, and you tell me if you would listen to another GM calling you presenting a trade. Like, are they touchable, untouchable? That's a game we're going to play. I got to give some love first and foremost to Gametime, which is the absolute best way imaginable to find tickets. Kylen, I got to bring this up because I think it's so awesome, and I'm going to tie it into this sponsor. You were just in Grand Forks, North Dakota, covering a college basketball game. Is that correct? Did I get the name of the town right?
Yep, Grand Forks, North Dakota.
So
basketball.
So, and I absolutely love that. I've been to Fargo myself. Side note, Fargo, the TV show is phenomenal. A+ TV if you're looking for something to watch. But I find North Dakota quaint. What was your experience there? Like, how did you like North Dakota in December, January?
It was interesting. It was a little bit desolate because it was 20 degrees, wind chill and 20 degrees was the high. So mostly in the teens, single digits with the wind chill. So it was pretty much just all kind of like icy. There wasn't like really snow on the ground, but everything was just gray and white. There was maybe like a thin layer. People are super friendly. Everyone was super, super nice. I had a great crew, was calling a game out there for CBS Sports, which was a lot of fun. But I don't know. Jury's still out in North Dakota. Like I said, everyone was nice, appreciate good people, but it was freezing and it was desolate. So that's that.
And you're from the Midwest. So if you say something is cold, it's damn cold.
Oh, it was cold. Like 24-mile-per-hour wind gusts when we landed on the 30th, in addition to it already being like 15 degrees. So it's just like, it's just awful.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. It's beautiful country, but this time of year, my Lord. The reason why I bring it up, besides the fact that I wanted you to share your, briefly at least, your experience in North Dakota, regardless of where you are in this country, if you need tickets for a game, I'm guessing in North Dakota, college basketball is huge. It's something to do. It keeps you warm in that arena, but it might be so popular, it sells out fast. So if you need tickets, whether it's for a game in Grand Forks, North Dakota, wherever you are, Fargo, Texas, Tennessee, California, if you need tickets, Gametime, is the solution for you. They're there for you if you need last-minute tickets. They're there for you if you want a view of the action. Their app actually gives you a picture of what it's going to look like from the seats that you're interested in purchasing. And maybe the best part, they offer a low price guarantee, meaning you buy your tickets, and if you happen to see those same tickets in the same row and section from another dealer, they will refund the difference. That's literally what a low price guarantee is. Gametime is the way to go wherever you are, even in North Dakota. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guarantee.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, we got one final segment here of Locked On Warriors. You can follow Kylen Mills on all social media platforms at her name. Kylen Mills is super easy. You can follow me over on Threads at Dog Wild. All right, Kylen, these are all our players. And real fast before we get to this game, and you know what's interesting thing? StreamYard actually has this feature where we can play music. I always forget about that. So why don't we play some music?
Okay. Going full game show mode.
Okay, that's way too slow, right?
Yeah, this is like go to sleep music, Sai.
No. All right, whatever. This will work. I want to really quickly mention against Stephen Curry, 14th game this season where he scored 30 or more points. He finished this game 36 points. Missed 3 free throws, Kylen, which is really bizarre. Had 6 assists. And Kaminga, 19.6 rebounds, 7 of 14 from the field. Still needs to improve that 3-point shooting.
We got to change the music, man. I'm sorry.
It's awful.
Yeah, right, we've gotten elevator music and bedroom music in the comments, and then also someone said corn music. So. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to save you.
I can only play like what's offered here because of all the copyright issues that we might deal with. All right, is this good? Is this a little better?
Someone said Bruce Morrow said Wayne's World. I think it's better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's roll with this. Okay. And real quick before we get into the list, Kylen, in your opinion, because some people are saying Klay Thompson had a great night tonight. He was guarding Paolo Banchero, for a lot of the evening, so he had a lot to deal with. 15 points on the night, 3 rebounds, was 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, 6 of 11 from the field, 1 turnover, 4 fouls. Was it a good night to you, or are people maybe hyping it up a little more than they should just because we love Klay so much?
Oh, Cyrus, people are just laying into you about the music. I thought Klay played really good defense, and you pointed out he had a tough matchup in terms of working on Banchero, and I thought he did a good job considering how talented he is. Now Banchero still finished with 27 points. He was 8 of 20 from the floor. I still thought that Klay did a good job defensively. He was definitely more efficient. I felt like went down in the second half compared to the first half, and I just wish I had his splits from quarter to quarter. I still think that Klay Thompson could refine his shot selection.
What quarter do you want? I have that right in front of me. What quarter are you interested in?
Oh, I just was curious what his splits were from like the first to second half.
Oh, okay. First half.
You have every quarter. You have every quarter. But
I have everything. Yeah. So Klay Thompson first half at 3 points, 1 of 2 from deep and the field. Those were his 2 field goal attempts. Second half, Klay Thompson 12 points on 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 6 from deep, and his plus minus 13s. You were saying the second half was much better. Is that?
So I mean, I guess he was just more productive because, as you just mentioned, he took more shots. He was more involved. I don't know that I felt like he had a great night. I felt like he definitely was a huge contributor defensively. I still would like to see him refine the shot selection a little bit. But I think that he played pretty well. I mean, I thought he played pretty well. Shot selection is the one area that I would point out. Like, I still feel like he needs to let the game come to him and get into a rhythm a little bit more than forcing. But that's about all I'd have to say. I thought it was a good performance. I thought it was above average performance.
Yeah, it was nothing. Like Ball Jim, take it easy, buddy. He's saying that, or she, whoever you are, that Klay hating on this show is disgusting. Who's hating on Klay? I don't think we've seen that. We've said anything negative, unless you're referring to the chat. I'm not following along enough in terms of what's going on there, but there's no hate here. We love Klay, so we got to be honest here too. He's not having the greatest of years, but I don't. We're not hating on him, are we, Kylen? I don't know.
No. I think that he played well. Like I said, I think he played well. Was it the best game of his career? No, but I thought he played well. I thought he played really well defensively, and then offensively, he contributed. I thought he took some good shots, had a nice cut, finished, laid one in, I remember. But, I thought he played well. I thought he played well overall. It wasn't his best game of all time. But I think you're happy with Klay Thompson.
Yeah, the music thing, I won't do this again, I promise. But the music's playing, so let's just get to the list, all right? Here are the players. I'm gonna list them all. Kylen, you tell me in the audience, are they available for a trade? Let's say I'm another GM. You are Mike Dunleavy Jr., the GM of the Golden State Warriors. I'm calling you. Klay Thompson. Is Klay available?
Oh, I don't think they're going to do it. It's a hard one because I just wouldn't even say it because I don't think it'll ever happen. I think what I would like to see happen is that Klay accepts a more diminutive role and kind of clears the way for the youngsters to take on bigger roles, but stays with the Golden State Warriors through the rest of his career. That's what I would like to see happen with Klay Thompson, because what he's done for the Warriors, what he means to this organization, his bond with Steph Curry, that's something that can't be replaced.
Yeah.
What he means to the locker room, what he means to the staff from the top down. I would love to see Klay stay with the Warriors, but accept the fact that he's not going to have the same role that he always had, and I would love to see him retire as a Warrior. So that's my take on it, but he would have to accept that he has to at some point clear the way for the youngsters to take on premier roles, to take on starting roles.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how that works. I think like that passing of the guard is sometimes difficult for players to accept that they are past their prime and whatever, whenever that time comes. But it's something that needs to be done, and it's something that's on the cusp for this Warriors team. Steph Curry still needs to be a starter. Beyond that, like, we're looking at now, and I know we're going to talk about more guys. All right, get to the next guy. Sorry, but I think the Warriors are getting to the time where like the torch needs to be passed.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
But it does. But it doesn't mean I want to see Klay Thompson leave. That's kind of my overall takeaway on that.
Good, great takeaway. The next player is Jonathan Kuminga. And before you continue, I want to add real fast. I saw Kaminga. It was about the 9:50 mark of the second. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the 9:50 mark of the second quarter. And it was a very subtle play, but he did this. He had a fadeaway. He was in the paint just in front of the free throw line, so it was about 12 feet away. He had this fadeaway jumper that looked beautiful. It was like borderline Jordan Kobe-esque style in terms of optics. I love the kid. I'm seeing his passing improve. He's actually trying to help his teammates. Like he's patting Klay on the back just to rally him a bit. I love everything about this kid. But is he available for a trade, Kylen?
Who?
Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay, I was gonna say, I missed you said at the beginning, you were describing him. I was like, is he talking about Kaminga? No, I absolutely am not trading Kaminga under any circumstances. Kaminga stays non-negotiable for me.
Sounds good. I'm totally with you on that. Okay, next player up, Trayce Jackson-Davis. 10
Trayce
points
Jackson-Davis.
tonight.
No, I love Trayce Jackson-Davis. The Warriors need a more traditional big. He's more athletic. I think he has more offensive game than Kevon Looney. I like Trayce Jackson-Davis. I would keep him.
All right, and on tomorrow's show again, folks, Kylen and I will discuss trade options for the Warriors, meaning like who's actually out there available for a trade. The trade deadline's a little more than a month away. We'll get into that tomorrow. Chris Paul.
Yes, 100% yes.
I'm totally with you.
I think that it fit in with the Warriors and complemented their style of play better than I thought he would, but I think he's completely disposable. At least starting out the year, shooting numbers had been abysmal. I think he was pretty efficient tonight, but generally, I just feel like he could stay or go.
Yeah, and Chris Paul, I feel like his value, what he brings the most to the table, is I'm seeing the younger players develop faster under his tutelage. I'm seeing the value there, but at the same time, I'm with you. Expiring deal. If there's an option out there as they go
contract
forward.
situation, yeah, I think it would make sense.
We're not mentioning Stephen Curry for obvious reasons. Gary Payton II, who just got injured, has one more year left on his deal after this season. Is he available?
Oh, that's a tough one, Cy. My big concern is that GP2 can't stay healthy. I mean, the Bay Area loves GP2. Gary Payton II will always be special, and I love what he brings, the energy, the intangibles, the culture fit, the great perimeter defending the Warriors need, but he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
So that's the reason why I would consider.
Brandon Pajemski. And before you answer this, what if Lauri Markkanen was the other player?
Ooh, I do like Lauri Markkanen. I like him a lot, and I like him for the Warriors. I don't know, but we're running out of time, so can I just say I think the Warriors need to invest in and protect the future. And to me, that's Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, but Moses Moody actually has to play. If they're not going to play him, I say let him go. Let the poor kid go further his career. But if they would actually play him, Moses Moody, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Brandon Pajemski, outstanding, great feel for the game, great energy, unbelievable confidence for a rookie. Would love to see what he can do in the future. Jonathan Kuminga has to stay. So, I think the two rookies, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Brandon Pajemski, are no-goes, absolutely. Steph Curry obviously is going to retire a Warrior, so that's non-negotiable. And I think Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody could be the future of the franchise, but Moody has to be given opportunities.
Oh my God.
But the others, like Kevon Looney to me and Andrew Wiggins, like could stay or go. Like, honestly, I think Wiggins is the most movable piece to me.
What about Draymond?
Draymond's a tough one because of the history with the Warriors, so I'm a little more on the fence about that. I don't know that I have a hard answer because of what I've said here on the show before, is that he has that relationship kind of similar to Clay. I would love to see him, Draymond Green, maybe accept more of a backseat role, really just take on a veteran role, trying to lead and help the young guys and mentor them in the locker room versus an on-court role where he's getting suspended and ejected every game. That's
Sounds
all.
Good. No, I'm totally with you. Draymond, by the way, I don't know if this is weird to you or not. We got a minute left here. He hasn't been around the team at all during this whole suspension. He's allowed to. No sighting of him anywhere in the building. Is that bizarre to you? Is there nothing to look into there? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think whatever it's going to take for him to get through whatever mental health struggles that he's working through, he has to do counseling, he has to do therapy. So maybe it's best for him to be away from basketball when he's going through that. So I'm not reading too much into that or too concerned. We don't really know what he's going through off the court. So, however, he was at LeBron James' birthday, wasn't he?
All right. So, and tomorrow we're going to play the soundbite from Steve Kerr, which was mind-blowing. We're going to save that for tomorrow's show. We'll announce the time soon. You and I have not figured that out yet. Great show as always. Look, the Warriors won. And I think a lot of people thought they were going to lose to this Magic team. So it was a huge win. Kudos. We'll be back at this tomorrow. Thanks, Kylen. And thanks, everyone, as always. Where's our little thing to close up? Here we go. Bye, folks. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year, everybody.